Ellis Cinema, created by she, her. How we doing out there? Good, great, grand, and wonderful. Here we are again. Adrian Ellis, I love that score. I never get tired of hearing it. Adrian Ellis, ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for that opener. Composition by composer Adrian Ellis, no relation. Oh, what is this? Number 6, I think. It's number 6. We're in the home stretch, we are. The 6th installment of the William Grefe collection. He came from the swamp. The William Grefe collection. Killer sharks and human jellyfish and living mummies. Oh my. Arrow Video is proud to present the first ever collection of works by William Wild Bill Grefe, the maverick filmmaker who braved the deep, dark depths of the Florida Everglades to deliver some of the most outrageous exploitation fare ever to go dance its way across the drive-in screens. Wow, butchered that fucking paragraph, didn't I? Bringing together 7 of Grefe's most outlandish movies plus a feature-length documentary on the filmmaker's career, He Came from the Swamp. The William Grefe collection packs in a menacing menagerie of demented jellyfish men. I say again, demented jellyfish men. Zombified witch doctors, homicidal hippies, and seductive matrons. Not to mention the ubiquitous go-go dancing. To create one of the most wildly entertaining box sets of all time. I must say, not wrong. If you haven't listened to the previous episodes, I went into this going, what am I obligated to watch? How many of them are there? Because, if you get to a certain point in your life, you know that time is the most precious thing, right? Well, I must say, I was not disappointed. And they're like, the rewatch value is high too, because they're, kind of cheesy, and I think most of the endings are like really good too, like a really good twist ending, or definitive, and not in a positive but a negative way, very definitive. So I shouldn't say we're because of the 6th installment. I think I was just let down by the Psychedelic Priest, though it was heavy in its own right. But this one, Mako. The Jaws of Death, coming off the boom of Steven Spielberg's Jaws. Everybody was capitalizing. In fact, speaking of everybody capitalizing, anyway, as you see on your screen, your dial, Mako, The Jaws of Death. I was watching, I think one of the bonus features was called Sharksploitation, and they were talking about the boom that happened after the Jaws movies to do shark movies, and there was a couple of them that they killed real sharks, and I think one of them, and I won't even mention the title, but it's still illegal in the United States, I believe, is what I heard on the bonus features. Oh, but as a big animal guy, big pet guy, oof. Now, before you start sending me DMs, I still eat meat, all meat. So let's just get that out of the way. But you can't be killing fucking sharks for a film. You kidding me? You kidding me, guy? Anyway, Mako, The Jaws of Death. Now, Jaws is one of my favorite movies of all the times ever. And, I almost feel like some hack fucking piece of garbage because Jaws is one of my favorite films of all time. Would you like to hear some of my favorites? No Country for Old Men, Jaws, Jackie Brown, The Godfather 1, not The Godfather 2, just The Godfather 1. Maybe Shaun of the Dead. Maybe Shaun of the Dead would be in the mix somewhere in there. Anyway, I've given you enough. We're not talking about that. But I tell you that because Jaws is one of my favorite films of all time, right? I've probably seen Jaws more than any other film in my life. So, it's very fucking hard to please me with a shark film. Very fucking hard. In fact, just between me, you, and the wall, I don't like giving out secrets all that much. But there is one other. I'm not a Deep Blue Sea guy, so I'm sorry. I'm not. There is one, though. I'll tell it to you live on the air. I believe it's an Australian flick. It's called Bait. That is the only other shark film that I really, really like. Jaws. And fucking, not that I don't like other creature feature films. The Crawl was awesome. The Gator film. There's Lake Placid. Hello. But if we're talking a shark movie, I love shark movies. I love underwater. I love the sea. Under the sea. I love the sea, not deep blue sea, but I love the sea. And I don't mind this one as a shark film, I'm saying it the way that I am because it's a Bill Grefe film. Like, I did not think that I was going to come out of this going, that's fucking awesome. So, thing number one, I'll talk a little bit about the plot, but I'm not going to ruin anything for you because the ending is wild and depressing. All fucking Bill Grefe's films, for the most part, they end very depressing or fucking, shit. Which I love for being late 60s, early 70s. I fucking love that. But what's cool about this film, so all of the sharks that you're seeing in the interaction with the people in the sharks, not necessarily the deaths, that's just a fucking movie magic and editing, but a lot of like the underwater sequences, which were fucking brilliant, I thought brilliantly shot. Real people, real sharks. Now, they were tiger sharks, not Mako, which is what the title would have you believe. I believe I heard on the bonus features. Everything's starting to blur together. Like, we're talking all the bonus features on every single one of these discs that I have, plus the 2-hour documentary, He Came from the Swamp, about Bill Grefe's career. This shit's getting lost. But I believe the tiger sharks, not Makos. You'd have to fact check me on that one. Anyway, is where it stands as a shark film. So it's got that going for you. Swim with real sharks. I'm like, oh, all right, cool, fucking awesome. And from what I could tell, there's only one frame where I wondered if it was a dummy shark. I hope it was a dummy shark. But other than that, I thought the sequences with the sharks, though, kind of redundant, but you had to be it. I mean, this film was fucking 1976. Jesus. Like, this is 1-2 years after Jaws. And, I mean, real sharks. Real sharks. I mean, that alone, I mean, you could almost just half-ass the plot, which I don't. I think, in terms of like a campy horror film, which Jaws is a horror film. In terms of a campy horror film, which is Mako, the Jaws of Death, I don't mind the subplot. Well, actually, the main plot. So, what do we got here? The film is about a brooding loner who accidentally learns, and he accidentally, but his name's Sonny. The film is about a brooding loner who accidentally learns that he has a telepathic and emotional connection with sharks. Telepathic, that's not true. It's not true. I'm here to tell you. Wiki is wrong. He does talk to sharks. Sonny does talk to sharks, played by Richard Jaekel. Played Sonny. Also starring Jennifer Bishop, Buffy Dee, Harold Sakata. Actually, let's get everybody. It was written and directed by Bill Grefe. Nope, it was written by Robert Morgan. Robert Morgan stepping it up for the creature flick. Directed by Bill Grefe, starring Richard Jaekel as Sonny Stein, Jennifer Bishop as Karen, who's the underwater go-go dancer, because I thought we were going to get away from it. We'll talk about the plot here. Hold on. Buffy Dee, Harold Sakata, another Bill Grefe regular, John Davis Chandler, who I believe was in all of these, maybe not the Psychedelic Priest. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure every other one. Anyway, so yeah, he does talk to the sharks. He does talk to the sharks, but he's not. It's not like he wills them to do that. He's like, buddy, it's like it's your friend. It's your friend. He eventually rebukes society and sets out to protect sharks from people. That does not come until way later. The film was set and shot on location in Key West, Florida. The film is one of the first in the wave of films that sought to capitalize on the popularity of the feature film Jaws. Mako, the Jaws of Death, with its sympathetic portrayal of sharks as the real victims of human exploitation, is notable in the maritime horror genre. The maritime horror genre, I like that, for having depicted the sharks as the heroes and the man as the villain. Sonny Stein, played by Richard Jaekel, learns while working as a marine salvager in the Philippine Islands that he has a connection with Mako sharks. See, what had happened was he was not. You're not working as a marine. Anyway, he falls into some water, and two of them go under the water. Only one of them came out, and the one that came out, he meets like a shark shaman. The shark shaman gives him a shark tooth necklace, and now he's protected from sharks. Which the necklace, no spoilers. The necklace. Said too much. The necklace. He is given a medallion. Well, yeah, all right. By a Filipino shaman that protects him. I really thought that they were in Nam. I could be wrong on that. I thought that they were in Nam. Maybe I missed that part. I probably did. He develops, having become alienated from society, Stein lives alone in a small stilt house offshore. It's actually pretty badass. All he'd have to do is clean it up a little bit. He'd clean it up a little bit. He'd have a fucking pad right there in the water like that. I mean, you got to travel fucking by boat to get there. That's kind of a bummer, but, no easy access to the grocery store or roads, which that's what you're trying to do. Yeah, I got it. Just calm down, everybody. I'm just saying. For me, sometimes I need a grocery store snack. And I don't want to have to go fucking treading through the goddamn Everglades to get a fucking rack of Oreos because I decided to fucking... What are we doing? But yeah, he spruce it up a little bit. He'd be a nice little pad. Bring the ladies back to it. Hey, speaking of ladies, there's a part in this... Okay, hopefully I'll remember to come back around to the rape, to the thrown away rape as if it never fucking... All right. Yeah, so, Sonny fucking, he doesn't rebuke society until some heinous shit happens. I'm not going to tell you about the heinous shit, because I'm not going to spoil anything for you. This one may be on Tubi, it may not be. I don't know. Fucking just buy the box set from Arrow Video. Buy the fucking box set. You literally, the way that people watch movies now, like if you're some of the people I know, it would take you almost 2 months to get through this box set, or maybe a month. I don't know, depending on how you watch movies. But I'm worth every goddamn penny. Anywho, first thing we see in this film, and I was hooked, and because it was just kind of ridiculous, we'll just say Sonny. Sonny isn't the shark entertainer that you would want him to be. Not at all. He sometimes makes them do devious shit. So these fishermen are out fishing. Good one. And they hook a Mako. Well, as they're trying to reel it in, Sonny's on the case underwater in his scuba gear. And he cuts the fishing line, freeing the shark. And then he boards the fisherman's boat. He leaves his oxygen mask and goggles on for the kill sequences that are about to happen. So he kills these fishermen, right, and throws them in the water. I'm not going to give away how he kills them or the hilarity that I thought it was, because keep in mind, he's got his fucking flippers on and his oxygen mask on, and now he's killing people. And he throws them overboard, and he taps the boat, and the sharks come eat him. So he's got this connection. And I thought, as a shark film, as someone who loves shark films, that's a good little flip it on its head, a little fucking Jaws whisperer. I'm okay with that. In terms of, like, a creature feature. Come on. Like, if you've seen a creature feature, you haven't seen fucking more outlandish premises than that. Premises. You're on my premises? Oh, Jesus. So he throws them in. I'm like, all right, I'm in on this. And, of course, like any Bill Grefe sequence, after we see them die, we have the opening credits sequence, and it is fucking 4 minutes of underwater swimming with sharks. But don't get me wrong, cool, but like I feel at like minute 2.5, I needed a British documentarian, like illustrating to me what was going on. Well, the man, say, he takes by the shark's hand, and wouldn't he come up with up for air if he I don't even know what I'm going for. But yeah, once we get to minute that was so terrible. Once we get to minute 2.5, I just feel okay. This is dragging on a little fucking much. But who am I, Petey Pop, motherfucker? That just showed my age. If any of you get that reference out there, that showed my age kindly. So after Sonny just kills a bunch of people, he just goes to the fucking local bar, and the bartender, he's his friend. So he gives him some scraps, gives him some food scraps, so he can give them to Sonny's friends, who we haven't met yet, who do have fucking names. Stops by the Marine Bar. He comes back to his little bachelor pad, his house, and there's 3 slimy characters waiting for him, which is, I believe, Ben Kronen, John Davis Chandler, and Harold Sakata. So Pete, Charlie, and Whitney. Pete and Charlie, just despicable, especially what they do later. Ugh. I mean, well, not what they do. I mean, it's a movie. Obviously, it's fake. But I'm more upset with, like, the result of it. And that's probably be my closing piece, is how annoyed I was with that. And it doesn't define the movie. I'm not one of these people that's like, if it doesn't hold up to 2021 standards and, the woke generation, I just can't fucking watch it. I'm not one of those people. I guess I probably, by all rights and accounts, I probably am woke, as they say. But as a cinephile, I don't fucking shit on films in the 70s for not being fucking woke. That said, there are some things that I do find deplorable, but it's almost like, oh, didn't know better. You did know better, and you just turned a blind eye, but, like, obviously now it's different. Hopefully now it's different. Who the fuck knows? I mean, sometimes shit never changes. But I just wanted to point out that I'm woke, but I don't penalize old movies for being fucking not woke. That's just stupid. You're going to take yourself out of every movie. Even though I was uncomfortably hand over mouth laughing at the, well, okay, we'll get there. Go on down. Just calm down, Sean. What do we got going on? So these 3 shady characters, they want Sonny's particular set of skills, Liam Neeson style, want his skills to, because he can talk to sharks and stuff, they want to be able to film the first birth of a shark ever, because this scientist hasn't been able to film it. And reluctantly, Sonny agrees to it after, there's just a hilarious scene in his boathouse. They put a bounty on him, didn't they? Oh my God, I was just giggling. I was just like, this overacting. It was fun though. It's a fun scene, but just how they used to talk back in the day is just fucking humorous as fuck to me. Old toxic white men shit. Anyway, what happens here? Oh yeah, so he goes back to the bar that night after he makes the fucking slimy deal. Well, the 2 shady characters, fucking Pete and Charlie, are at the bar too, and they seem to be watching on him, but they're also like regular patrons, so it's kind of unclear. Either way, you have Sonny and the fucking 2 shady ass characters at the bar. Well, the owner of the bar, fucking, I believe his name was Barney. Yeah, Barney, jolly old fellow. He reveals a new exhibit, which is an underwater tank where you get to see a lady by the name of Karen, played by Jennifer Bishop, do some go-go dancing underwater in a fish tank while you have your cocktails and drinks and spirits. I thought there. How are we? I mean, not how are we, because we could have just been on any beach randomly. But I thought, like, by the time we got to this film, there's going to be no dancing whatsoever. We were going to somehow find a way not to have go-go dancing. Now I must say, it wasn't as uncomfortable and didn't make me feel like I was starting to want to be racist towards people that I like. Just because it was so white. I don't know. You had to be there for the first couple episodes. What is he babbling about? I don't know. Listen to the fucking show. Actually, don't listen to the fucking show. It's the worst. This is the worst podcast on the interwebs. The worst podcast. Anywho, I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh, yes. I thought we were going to be able to make it because, like, in Sting of Death, which was the first installment of the Bill Grefe series, there's, like, maybe 6-7 total minutes, which for me, unless it's a musical, which it's far too long. And I like musicals. I'll go see a musical. I haven't seen West Side Story yet, but I did see what was it? Sierra Heights. Is that what that was? I like that one. It's Sierra, City Heights, City Lights, Summer Lights. I saw that one. Anyway, nope. There's underwater dancing. God damn it. I was so annoyed. But here, let's wrap it up. Again, I only wanted to do 10, 15 minutes on each of these episodes. We'll just say that Sonny showing his sharks to the scientists, that may not have the ending that he would have possibly wanted. And if I tell you that Richard Jaekel and Jennifer Bishop are the two leads in this, well, she's a dancer, and her husband, as it were, even though she's a little flirty with Sonny, he owns the bar, and they're together. Well, a shark gets added to the go-go dancing underwater at the bar. So between those two things, it is not the happiest. One of them I was pissed as fuck, too. I was like, yeah, fuck you. And so, as I mentioned earlier, this happens to show sharks in a positive light, that they are not the killers, they are not the villains. Man is the villain, and that is true. But it still goes in a pretty twisted way, I thought. Even though man, yes, okay, if that is of course we got that. I like how it comes to a close. I thought it was very fucking so dark, especially for the time, and it's still dark now. I don't know, who am I to say? Anyway, let's talk about this thing that really grinded my gears. So after we see the go-go dancing underwater for the first time, Jennifer Bishop, I mentioned that Pete and Charlie were there, right? The two fucking slimy thugs, not the scientists. They were just accompanying the scientist. They harass Karen, played by Jennifer Bishop, in the parking lot. Like, come on, baby. And they're trying to fucking fool around with the girl. Tag team, apparently. Well, that's a little rough. Well, hey, that's what they were trying to do. Both of them were going after the gal. Anywho, shortly after they leave, Sonny follows them because he happens to, of course, sees that she was getting harassed in the parking lot. They leave a little bit early. I don't know why it takes Sonny so long to catch up and see what happens. But get this. They are pulled off to the side of the road. It's like barely dusk. Side of the road, and they are just about to rape Karen, Jennifer Bishop. Karen, rape Karen. Just no big deal. Just a raping. And well, Sonny pulls over and he can't have any of that, and he kung fu's old fucking Charlie, played by Davis Chandler, Bill Grefe regular, and Pete played by Harold Sakata. Just kung fu's fucking Pete and Charlie to the side, and that's how we introduce our more intimate relationship between Karen and Sonny. Because actually Sonny's racing home because he's got to feed his shark, so he can't drop Karen off yet, but he does take her and show her around and show her that he can talk to sharks and shit like that, and she's just kind of amused and baffled by it all. Anyway, I want to get back to the whole R thing, because it's not the actual raping on the side of the road that I had a problem with in terms of cinematic. Yes, of course, calm down. You're saying rape's okay? No. Who said that? No. Cinematically, I'm like, okay, whatever, we got past that. This is what bothered me. So, as aforementioned, Karen and Barney, the slimy club owner, bar owner, club owner, they're together. He starts harassing her when she comes in. This is after the night. So this is Karen's night. So she did some go-go dancing underwater. She was harassed in a parking lot. She was almost raped on the side of the road. And then this weird man who tells her that he can communicate with sharks, and here's my pad, out in the middle of the fucking Everglades, I might add. She just goes with him. And he tells her that he can communicate with sharks, and she should come swimming one day or another, which is how she ends up with the shark in the tank with Barney. But anyway, she tells Barney all this, her husband, her boyfriend, whatever, and before she says what happened, he's like, why are you home so late? First thing he asks, why are you home so late, did you get raped or something? And it's just like a throwaway. And then, obviously, he tells her what happened. But get this. After he hears who was trying to rape her, Barney's like, oh, I can't go after them or call the cops on them. They're two of my highest paying customers. They're regulars. I can't turn that money down. And I was like, so wait a goddamn minute. I fucking just hold the fucking phone. You, jocular, in jest, say to your wife or girlfriend, did you get raped or something? That's thing number one, not the first question. That's, again, this is an old movie and stuff. I just thought the conversation it just kept on getting into a weirder place for me. And then ultimately ending on, well, we're not going to do anything because they're high-paying customers. I was blown. My brain started to fucking hurt. I mean, because funny because I always laugh at what makes me uncomfortable. That's just that's how we call that a coping mechanism. Anyway, we've spent far too long. I just wanted to tell you how weird and acceptable it was. This movie ruled not to be overshadowed. Fucking swam with sharks. You got a fucking clairvoyant. You got someone who can train and tame these sharks to eat humans. They're out there on the fishing waters. I liked it. Arrow Video, he came from the swamp, the William Grefe collection. 6th installment. One more to go, baby. Mako, the Jaws of Death. That was a fun one. Check it out now. Arrow Video, he came from the swamp. Mako, the Jaws of Death. Ellis Cinema, Arrow Video. How we got. And keep in mind, you don't have to pay to see these. If you don't want to do the physical, okay, I don't blame you. Get the Arrow player. They're playing all on there. I think it's like fucking easy money, $9 a month, something like that. $10 a month. Nothing's $9 a month. The fuck you talking about? But stream them first, and then buy this collection. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Like I said, I went into this groaning, and I came out going, are every one of these movies like so bad they're good? And some of them have a good enough plot twist at the end that I'm excited for the next one. Yes, they did. And I'm a tough person to please. Fucking Arrow Video, always coming in clutch. He came from the swamp. William Grefe collection.